Hey, fellow problem solvers, Colfax Math here. Today I was going to go over the Asvab test, the placement test to get into the military, and also the job that you'll probably get in the military depending on this test. The only section I'm doing today is section 2, arithmetic reasoning, and I'm going to go over a lot of tips and tricks to do well on this test. Doing a test like this is really about practice and kind of knowing what to expect. So there's a practice test linked in the description. I would print that out, sit in a nice quiet place, time yourself on the problems because timing is a big piece of it. I would watch a little bit of this video, pause the video, maybe do one page and then watch that piece of the video and see how I did the problems and if you did them correctly. Even if you did them correctly, I might have some other little sneaks and tips that might help you do them a little faster. There is no calculator allowed on this portion of the Asvab test. So computation is really a big part of it, and a big piece of that is kind of being thorough and careful and not making any mistakes. So I'm going to put the camera over my shoulder, we'll go through this test, pause it, do problems, watch me do problems, and hopefully this will help bring your score up in the Asvab. Okay, getting started on subtest number 2, arithmetic reasoning. This is a standardized math test. All standardized math tests really test how well you do with standardized testing. If you want to do well at anything, you got to practice. So the key is to do a lot of these practice tests. Just kind of sit down and try and simulate the actual testing environment. One of the biggest things about standardized math tests is really timing. So the first thing you want to really note is you have 36 minutes for 30 questions. So that means pretty much 1 minute per question. The hardest problem has the same weight as the easiest problem, so don't spend a ton of time on one problem and then not get to the other. So timing is really a big idea. And then the other thing too, along with timing, is that a calculator is not allowed. Since there's not a calculator allowed, there's going to be tricks in every problem for you to figure it out a little more easily. You certainly want white paper right here to do all your work on, and you want to keep this white paper pretty well organized, so that if you have to go back to a problem, you have it all numbered and laid out. Started on number 1 here. I like to mark up the test as much as I can, circling the important ideas so I don't miss anything, and then kind of writing out all my work. So a car is towed 12 miles to the repair shop and it is $3.50 a mile. How much does it cost? Well, we could do 350 times 12. Or I could just double that 350 to get 7, double it again to get 14. So this is 1 mile, this is 2 miles, this is 4 miles. And then I could actually just triple that to get to 12. And if I multiply this by 3, I get 42. So I can see it's going to cost $42 to travel those 12 miles. Again, you could just multiply it out, or a quick trick. The sum of two numbers is 70. One number is 8 more than the other number. So I could set up an algebraic equation here, or I could just start adding 8 to these and see if it works. 31 plus 8 is equal to 39. 39 and 31 is 70, so that's the right answer. I could try it again here. 33 plus 8 is 41. 41 and 33 is not going to be 70, so I can see that's not the answer. And then obviously as I go up, it's going to be more and more further away from 70. So through a process of elimination, I'm able to do that problem. Number 3, a sales manager buys antacid in bottles by the gross. If he goes through 3 bottles, that's the only number I got so far, every day, how long will a gross last? Well, this is actually a vocabulary problem to see whether or not you know what a gross is. A gross is a dozen, so a gross is 144. And that's your first answer. That's actually kind of a distractor. So I go 3 bottles every day. How long will a gross last? Well, it's going to last 1/3 of 144. So I do 144 divided by 3. 3 goes into 14 4 times to give me 12 with 24 left over. But I could see it's going to be 40 something, and I could actually stop right here because there's only one that's going to be in the 40s, so it's going to be D, Or I could see 3 goes into 24 8 times, and it gives me the answer 48. So just some tricks on these standardized tests. I mean, I'm good at them because I do a lot of standardized tests. Besides teaching shop, I also teach math, so I do a lot of this. So to improve on these, you gotta just do a lot of these types of problems to look for these little tricks. Jenny's test grades are 93, 89, 96, 98. If she wishes to raise her average to 95, so that means I have 1 plus 2, 3, 4, 5 grades. I have all 5 of those grades have to add up, be divided by 5 to equal 95. I could probably do trial and error on here, but I think it's actually going to be easier just to add these all up. So I have 89 plus 93. I'm going to add those first. 12, carry the 1, 18, plus the 96. 8, 17, carry the 1, 278, plus the 98, 16, 17, 376. 376 plus one more value, that's going to be x, over 5 equals 95. And then I can multiply both sides by 5 to get rid of this. These will cancel, and then I can see 376 plus x is going to equal 95 times 5. 95 times 5 is 450 plus the 25. So 45, 475. So 376 plus x is equal to 475 minus 376. I'm going to borrow from here, making this a 6 and this a 15. 15 minus 6 is 9. 6 minus 7, can't do that, have to borrow here. 16 minus 7 is 9, so my answer is 99. Pretty close to a minute per problem, besides all the additional talking I'm doing. A waitress earns an average tip of 12%. So I'm going to take that 12%. I think I'm going to go right to converting it to a decimal, move it over 1, 2, so 0.12. If she serves $375 of food, how much money in tips will she earn on average? 375 times that 12 is going to give me 10. Carry the 1, 14, 15. Carry the 1, 6, 7. Then I'm going to do that, multiply 1 times 5, 7, and 3. I'm going to add those together, 10, 15. And then this decimal place is over 1, 2, so I go 1, 2, and I get $45. So this is answer B, $45. How many square feet of carpeting are needed to carpet a 12 by 12 room? Well, that room is 12 by 12, so it's 144 square feet. I multiply to get area, height times width. Number 7, a lot of carpet problems here. Carpet protector costs 65 cents a square yard. 65 cents a yard to apply. How much will it cost to apply the protector to a 16 by 18 carpet? Well, first thing I note on this problem is I got 2 different units. Number 7, I have yards here, but then feet here. So I have a room 16 by 18. I'm going to multiply that together. 18 times 16, 48. Carry the 4, 10, 8, 1, and I get 8, 8, and 2. So I get 288 square feet. I got to remember a yard, 1 yard by 1 yard is 3 feet by 3 feet. So 1 square yard is 9 square feet. So I got to take that 288 and divide it by 9. 9 goes into 28 3 times to give me 27. 18, whoops, sorry. 9 goes into 18, 2, and I end up with 32. 32 yards times 65 cents. Well, 65 cents is less than $1, so it's going to be less than $32. There's only one value there, less than $32, and it's answer C. Printing plant that produces baseball cards has a monthly overhead of $6,000. It costs 18 cents, I'm going to keep it in dollars, so $0.18, to print each card, and the cards sell for 30 cents a piece. How many cards must a printing plant sell to make a profit? So on this one right here, this is what it costs to make a card, this is what you sell a card for, and we're looking for profit. So if we're looking for profit, there's 12 cents profit per card, right? So how many cards do I have to sell? I'm going to call the number of cards sold X times that 12 cents per card to equal 6,000. That's where my break even is to cover my overhead. So if I do 6,000 divided by 0.12, well, divided by 0.1 would be 60,000. So it's going to be a little bit less than that, or 50,000. Or so I could just see it's 50,000. That's the only one that's really going to work out in this problem. Or if I divide it out, I have 6,000 divided by 0.12. I moved a decimal over twice. And 12 is going to go into 65. It's going to give me 60, 0, and that's going to give me 50,000 for an exact answer. By process of elimination, well, he certainly doesn't make 57 cents now, and he certainly doesn't make $13, so it has to be one of these two. I could take that 7%, convert it to a decimal, and if I want to know what he makes now, I'd multiply by 1.07. So 7 times 5, 35, carry the 3, 7, 10, carry the 1, 56, 57. I got placeholder and I have zeros here. And I'm just going to do the increase, not the 1. So that's going to be 5, 0, 7, 5. And then I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 decimal places more, 3, 4. So he makes 57 cents more per hour. So 8.15 plus the 57 cents more is going to give me 12, carry the 1, 7, 8.72. So it's going to be answer C. Number 10, Alice leaves her house going 45 miles per hour. 30 minutes later, her husband notices she forgot her keys, and he sets off after her. How fast is Dave? Travels for 3 hours. So he's leaving 30 minutes later. Alice is traveling this speed, and the question is, how many miles per hour does Dave travel? Well, he's 3 hours later, and she has a 30-minute head start, so she's traveling 3.5 hours at 45 miles per hour. So I'm going to take 45 and multiply it by 3.5. So 45 times 3.5 is 25, carry the 2, 22. And then 3 times 5, 15, carry the 1, 12, 13. So this is 5, 7, 5, 1, 1 decimal place. So that means Alice travels a total of 157.5 miles at that 45 miles per hour in 3.5 hours. Dave's going to travel 30 minutes less. So I'm going to take that total mileage, 157.5, and divide it by the 3 hours that he's traveling. And that's going to give me the rate miles per hour, right? This is miles divided by hours. 3 goes into 15 5 times. Bring down the 7, it goes in there twice. So it's going to be C, 52.5. That's the only one that ends in 2. Number 11, a baker made 20 pies. A Boy Scout troop buys 1/4 of his pie. So the Boy Scout troop buys 1/4 of his 20 pies. A preschool teacher buys 1/3 of his 20 pies. And a caterer buys 1/6 of his pies. How many pies does the baker have left? So I got to add these fractions together here. So it's going to be about a common denominator. The number that all these numbers go into will be 12. So I'm going to change that 1/4 into a denominator of 12. multiplying it 3 over 3 to get 3 twelfths. Multiply this by 4 over 4 to get 4 twelfths. Multiply this by 2 over 2 to get 2 twelfths. Adding these up, I have 9 twelfths. 9 twelfths is how many of the pies he sold. 3/4 of the 20 pies, right? 3 will go into here 3 times, 3 into here 4 times, so it reduces to 3/4. 3/4 of 20 is going to be equal to 15. So he has sold 15 pies, and then it's important to note, how many does he have left? Well, he's going to have 5 pies left. Number 12, Miriam bought 5 cases of motor oil. On sale, a case of motor oil usually costs $24. She was able to get it for $22.50 a case. So $1.50 is savings per case. How much money did Miriam save on her entire purchase? $1.50 times the 5 cases is $7.50. So 12 is A. Number 13, the security guard walks the equivalent of 6 blocks when he makes a circuit around the building. If he walks at pace at 8 blocks every 30 minutes, that's a rate, right? 8 blocks per 30 minutes. How long will it take him to complete a circuit of 6 blocks? So I'm going to have one fraction set to another. So it's going to give me a proportion. I could just look at these answers, and if it takes him 30 minutes to do 8 blocks, it's going to be a little bit less to do 6 blocks. None of these, well, it could be A or C, so I better cross multiply. This is what I'm looking for, x. 30 times 6 is 180. That's going to be equal to 8x. Divide both sides by 8, and I get 2, 16, 20, 8 goes into 20 twice to give me 40, and that's going to be 0.5. So the correct answer is C, 22.5. Okay, number 14, the population of Grand Island, Nebraska grew by 600,000 people between 95 and 2005, 1/5 more than the council predicted. So that means one of these numbers plus 1/5 more will equal 600,000. So I'm just going to take 1/5 times 400,000. That's going to be 80. That's not going to add up to 6. 500,000 times a fifth is 100,000. 100,000 and 500,000 is 600,000. So it's going to be that answer right there. And then 300,000 times a fifth, it's going to be much less. There's no way. And then it's going down, so it can't be those. So through a process of elimination, I could quickly do that rather than all the computations. Number 15, Joan is taking an admission exam. She gets 40 of the 60 questions right. What percent of the questions does she need to answer correctly? So we're taking that fraction, converting it to a decimal. 10 will go into each one of those to get 4/6. I still could reduce that to 2/3. 2/3 is 66 and 2/3. So there it is right there, answer D. Number 16, a teacher deposits $3,000 into a retirement account. She earned 6%. I think this must be simple interest. 6% interest. How much money will she have in 1 year? Well, I'm going to do that 6 through there and get $180. And I could also see that this is a deliberate distractor, right? Because it says how much money will she have in 1 year. She has her original 3,000 plus 180, so it's 3,180. Number 17, high school track is a 1/4 mile track. How many laps would you have to run in order to go 3.5 miles? So you have 3.5 divided by 1/4. You could know that it would be 4 laps equal a mile, right? 1/4 times 4, so 4 laps equal a mile. So 12 laps equal 3 miles. And then 2 more laps to give me 14 laps equals 3.5 miles. So it would be 14 laps equal 3.5 miles. You could do the division out but I'm just trying to show you some tricks to make it go a little faster because you are on a little bit of a time crunch here. I think my side notes have taken up a little bit of time, but I'm probably pretty close to a minute per problem. Lastly, number 18, Carl's driving in Austria. He's driving at 75 kilometers per hour. However, he wants to figure out how many miles he's going per hour, and the conversion rate here is 5/8. So I multiply this by 5/8. So it's going to be less than 75. Cross out any that don't really make sense. 120 won't make sense. That bottom one, D, 18 won't make sense. But it's pretty close to those two. If I had a guess right here, I'd be able to eliminate two answers and increase my odds of guessing. I'd double my odds of guessing. So let's figure that out. 75 times 5/8 is going to be 75 times 5, 25, carry the 2, 35 plus 2, 375 over 8, which means 8 goes into 375, and I might be able to eliminate it here. 5 is 40, so it's 4, which gives me 32, and now I know it's going to have to be A, 47 if I was running out of time, or 55. 8 goes into 55 6 times. 6 is 48. Bring down the 7. 8's going to go into 70.8 times, and I'm going to round that up to get that 47. All right, well, I sure hope that helped. I think I'm going to wrap it up here. It's plenty long for one video, and I'll do another video to do more of the tests if people need me to do more of the tests. Hopefully you learned some tips and tricks on this, and it'll be advantageous and help you through the Asvab test. Doing well on standardized tests is really about practicing and learning the tips and tricks and really working about your timing, marking up the test as much as you can, eliminating answers that don't make sense. So if you do have to guess, your odds are a lot better. And I sure hope that helped. If it did, and your plans, I'd love to hear them in the comments below. And thank you for watching.